The story is told about two old friends, Mo and Joe, happen to have the same profession, bank robbing, haven't seen each other in a long time, and they finally meet up. And Mo says to Joe, "Boy, haven't seen you in so long. What's going on? How's life? How's business?" "Oh, life is wonderful," says Joe, "but I gotta tell you, I've turned over a new leaf." "Turned over a new leaf? Oh, you're not bank robbing?" "Well, the truth is now when I go into a bank, instead of taking out a gun and saying, 'Hey, stick 'em up, give me all your money,' I've changed. Don't do that anymore." "Oh, really? What do you do?" "I go into the bank, I take out my gun, but instead of saying, 'Give me all your money,' I say, 'Give me most of your money.'" Well, obviously, anyone who hears that story finds it patently ridiculous. Joe did not turn over a new leaf. In fact, he's acting kind of odd. In our own lives, sometimes we feel, that's it, I'm going to turn over a new leaf, I'm going to do Teshuvah, I'm going to change, everything's going to be different, and then, the changes are actually very, very slight, and if at all, they're very subtle, they're hard to notice, and we feel very strongly that Teshuvah is pretty much an all or nothing process. If I'm still doing the same old averos, even though I was confident, I was sure, or I really, really desired to change, but I'm still doing the same stuff, so is that really Teshuvah? And of course, based on the story, we would all say, of course not, that's not Teshuvah, but there's something wild and something amazing that is so important to hear. This comes from Reb Yisroel Salanter, the father of the modern Musar movement, the great Reb Yisroel Salanter. And he writes in his Sefer Or Yisrael, really put together by his Talmidim, it's both in the letter number 6 and it's letter number 7, and it's referenced elsewhere. He writes the following idea. He's talking about Yom Kippur and how to approach Yom Kippur. But in particular, he's speaking about Teshuvah. And he says that the reality is that every single Avera has many, many, many levels to it. Many levels. The ease, the intensity, how easy it was to do, how intensely we want and desire to do it, the difficulty in not doing it, the difficulty in doing it, and so on and so forth. And each Avera within that huge gamut of the various levels is judged on its own merits. And therefore, he says, as an idea, when it comes to Yom Kippur, he says, even when you are faced with some sort of terrible and tremendous nisayon, what you could do is try to get rid of the easier averos. That's his advice. But what is he actually saying? It's wild when you think about it. What he's saying is that a person can really chop up particular nisyonos into multiple parts. For example, we can understand if, let's say you have Mo and Joe, the bank robbers, and they also speak Lashon Hara. Okay, they do both. And they decide to do full Teshuvah from bank robbing. They are done, they become accountants, they're wonderful people. But they still speak Lashon Hara. I think we could all understand and recognize, well, they've done Teshuvah on the bank robbing and they still need to work on the Lashon Hara. Two separate things. What Rabbi Yisroel is saying is that even within the same Avera, you could chop up the Avera into multiple parts. And therefore, if a person tries to do Teshuvah, wants to do Teshuvah, and is actually doing what we would call, a small success. It's a small success. It's a tremendous success. It's a huge success when you view it as two separate parts. It's two separate averos. This person totally stopped bank robbing, and yeah, he speaks Lashon Hara and needs to work on that. That's true. But the bank robbing is gone. Similarly, whenever we're faced with any particular nisayon, if we've done any sort of success that would, it doesn't have the same frequency or the same intensity, whatever it may be, a person has to pat themselves on the back and say, look at that. I've done Teshuvah, maybe not in totality. Maybe I still, so to speak, need to work on the Lashon Hara. But I've done something. And that's not something small, that is something huge. And this doesn't come from me, this comes from Rabbi Yisroel Salanter, the man himself. You can look it up, Or Yisrael number 6, Or Yisrael number 7, when we finally realize and understand and pat ourselves on the back for those, what we might think are small successes. We will be able to build on those successes, as Rabbi Yisroel himself says. You build on those successes and it snowballs into something really amazing until we do Teshuvah Shalema. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you for listening to the Guard Your Eyes Daily Chizuk broadcast. Pass them on to your friends and help spread Kedusha in the world.